We are live. Oh my God. I think you levitated a little.
That felt so much better than I was prepared for. I held that for a solid 35 to 40 seconds waiting for this to come out.
Lord.
I just wanted to start our episode that way. There you go. You're welcome.
It's messed up. Messed up.
It hurts so bad.
I'm going to have to rate this one explicit.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, how's your week?
This content might be bad for your mental health.
It went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I wasn't ready.
You almost sounded like that. You know that video with those two girls in the car drinking the Sprite, and the one girl like leans her head over and goes, and then like proceeds to let out the nastiest burp I've ever heard in my life. It's the her laying her head and going, that gets me every time.
I do feel better though.
Well, that's good. Thank heavens for that.
Of any consequence. Now I can't get my mic to stay where I want it to stay. Okay.
I'll say don't be touching the mic.
Oh. Anyway, hope you're having a great week.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed last week's episode.
Yeah. It was a long one, so I hope you had a snack.
Right.
So what are we doing this week?
This week, we are doing an episode on Norse paganism. I've been wanting to do one on this one for a really long time. And I had planned it for last month.
Mm-hmm.
However, I didn't get it done in time.
Womp womp.
So, I wanted to tell you all about what Norse paganism is, but also the history and include some of the stories that go along with it. But honestly, that's a huge order. So I've decided to break it into 2, maybe 3 episodes. So this first one is going to give you the history and what it is, and break down what makes it work. And there is some kind of like, some of the stories, there's like 1 or 2, there's a few in there, but it doesn't really go into great detail. So we'll get into that later on, but I say let's just get into it.
So to start, what is Norse paganism? Simply put, it is a type of pagan religion, a denomination, if you will. It is known by some as the religion of the Vikings. It is a religion also called heathenry that is based on the Old Norse religion from Scandinavia, where mythology was passed down for hundreds of years before Christianity busted through the door. It is a religion that is still living today. It has no ancient texts, no list of commandments, and really the most appealing part to some is that it is free to interpretation. There is no one right way to follow this religion. Here, life is centered around a tree called Yggdrasil. This tree supports different realms of being. The tree itself is said to be rotting slowly. There are 3 norms that take care of it with sacred water that is pulled from the well of fate. It is anchored by 3 roots that reach to 3 of the realms. Hel, Jotunheimer, and Midgard. Per historians, the tree is an ash tree. At the base of this old ash are 3 very important wells. Now I mentioned realms. In total, there are 9 of them. Asgard, Alfheimer, Svartalfheimer, Midgard, Jotunheimer, Vanaheim, Niflheim.
Niflheim.
Muspelheim.
I think it's supposed to be Muspelheim.
Muspelheim. And then hell. The human realm is Midgard, and the other realms house gods, goddesses, and many other worldly beings like giants, dwarves, and elves. Humans inhabit one realm.
Oh, I don't know why I did that.
The other realms are home to multiple gods and goddesses, as well as...
I just typed that twice. Damn. Look at me not proofreading. My bad.
That's fine.
Anyway, so what do Norse pagans believe? Whereas most of your commonly practiced religions have a monotheistic belief, Norse paganism, as mentioned below, mentioned above, believes in multiple gods and goddesses. Each god represents what we perceive as human traits. The gods are more like the human race than the other religions in the way that they argue, make mistakes, and are not perfect. Let's walk through some of these gods and goddesses. They are grouped into two pantheons, the Aesir and the Vanir. The Aesir are associated with social concepts such as war and marriage, and these are the major gods. They were or are more commonly worshipped. Per myth, they are descendants of Buri, who was freed by the primeval cow, a Dumbla, from a mass of salty rime stones. And I tried to look up what a rime, R-I-M-E stone was, but I literally could find nothing. It just kept autocorrecting to rhyme. But anyway, Buri is fair and mighty, and he had a son, Bor, that would be the father of Odin and Vili and V. A few of these gods, like I mentioned, Odin, and then you've got Frigg, Loki, Thor, Balder, and Tyr, and that's just some of them. There's a huge list. And then the Vanir are more related to things like fertility, sexuality, and future telling. These gods are not descendants of Buri. Actually, the origin of the Vanir is a bit of a mystery. Various theories do state that they could have come from Vili and V, or they could have come from the Chthonic goddess Nerthus, who later became Njord, who is the Vanir patriarch. Examples of the Vanir gods and goddesses are Freya, Freyr, and Oder. Per mythology, the two groups waged war against each other that lasted for years. After an exchange of hostages, they ended up combining in a super group of gods. The gods were revered as beings that could offer insight, guidance, and protection. The pagan people oh my God.
Words are hard today.
The pagan people dedicated themselves to the affairs of Midgard. The gods and goddesses could be called upon in times of need. Now, when you think about gods, you think about eternal beings that rule all, right? Actually, the Norse gods were not of the immortal type. They only survived as long as they as long as they continued to consume magic golden apples that were kept by Eidun, the goddess of youth. These apples, though, did not provide invincibility. One was still susceptible to death. If you're familiar with the story of Ragnarok, if you're not, here's a spoiler, all of the gods die. While we are still on the subject of gods, I wanted to touch on the main characters here. Out of all of the Norse gods, 3 of them serve as main gods, kind of in a way. These are the most revered: Odin, Thor, and Freyr. Odin was most certainly the most powerful of them, with Thor at a close second. Outside of these gods and goddesses that they believe in, Jotun, which that's loosely translated to giants or other non-human beings like elves and dwarves. Norse pagans also have an animistic worldview, meaning that all things living and phenomena have a spirit. Also, I think it is fairly well known that in most religions there is a promise made for the afterlife. Norse paganism is really no different. Many Norse pagans believe that when you die, you go to another realm For instance, those who are killed in combat are taken to Valhalla to meet Odin. All of these characters, if you will, play a key role in the mythology that they believe in. This mythology is referred to as Nordic, Scandinavian, or Germanic mythology. These tales have helped shape the very culture that we know today. This mythology has passed down verbally traditionally. It wasn't until somewhere around 800 to 1100 Common Era that the first complete written pieces were brought out. This was called the Poetic Edda and is a collection of Old Norse poems and myths written by various authors.
So, exactly how old is Norse paganism? It is thought that it can be dated to the Iron Age or even the Bronze Age. And by the time that Christ did his thing, obvious hallmarks of Norse paganism were beginning to take shape. The Roman historian Tacitus, born in around 56 AD, noted that the Germanic peoples were polytheistic. Even though archaeological evidence shows that Old Norse mythology is at least 300 years older than the Viking Age, it was not until the Viking Age that Norse paganism really began to spread its wings, while the Norse were setting up shop across big parts of Northern Europe. So, do people still practice Norse paganism? We all know that Christianity took hold and started changing the narrative all over. As the Christianization process was slow and took hundreds of years, it was between the 8th and 12th centuries when parts of Norse paganisms began to vanish. However, modern archaeological digs do show that there were still plenty of people across Scandinavia that still held indigenous beliefs long after Christianity came about. It took until the 1700s for proper Christian practices to eventually dig its claws in every corner of Scandinavia. Is it Sami?
Yeah, I think so.
Sami people in the far north being of the last. However, Norse paganism is still a huge part of the folklore there. Despite the near disappearance of the religion, bits and pieces have withstood the test of time, and these parts have made it possible for interest to be sparked and bring in a new generation of Norse pagans to hit the scene. However, the Netflix series and Marvel may have been the reason. Just know that there is so much more to it than what you will see there. Being that Norse paganism is not an organized religion, it is hard to really pinpoint how many people are now following it around the world. But based off of Google Trends, a huge rise in interest began in 2018. And actually in 2019, the BBC said that Oshotru was one of Iceland's fastest growing religions.
Much of the different the branches of modern Norse paganism would be much like the different denominations in Christianity. There are branches of modern Norse paganism or heathenry. Their beliefs only vary slightly as the interpretations and practices differ. Some of the different paths are the Oshotru. This is a newer sect that brings elements of Iceland's pre-Christian religion back. It was started in 1972 and is now, as previously mentioned, the fastest growing religion in Iceland with more than 4,000 members. Followers of this live by 9 noble virtues: courage, truth, honor, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, self-reliance, industriousness, and perseverance. Along with these and the celebration of Norse mythology, they promote fairness, acceptance, and tolerance. Sadly, in recent years, the symbols of Oshotru have been co-opted by white supremacist groups in the belief that the Vikings were a pure race. And then you have the Vanatru, commonly known as the Way of the Veneer. Vanatru aims their focus on the Veneer pantheon of Norse deities like Freya, Njörun, and Freyr. And then you have the Rockatru. sometimes referred to as the dark side of Norse paganism. Followers of rocketry focus on a different pantheon of deities, which are the underworld gods.
So let's talk about everyone's favorite aspect of any religion, which is the festivals, rituals, and runes. Norse pagans celebrate seasonal festivals and associated rituals, much like any other pagan-based religion. They too celebrate Midsummer, Yule, and Ostara, among other festivals. There were quite a few, and the majority of them I was unable to find pronunciations for, and there was no way that we could give it a stab. They had like characters with the letters.
Like
said it was too much. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like it was like symbols.
Yeah.
Also, much like any other pagan belief system, some Norse pagans believe in and utilize the power of divination and the power of runes for protection, manifestation, and guidance. Though some do prefer to focus on more spiritual things, ancient symbols like Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and the Vegvisayer symbol still hold importance for some. Our sacrifice is still a thing. Me and Danny were talking about sacrifices the other day. Again, forget what you have learned from mainstream TV and movies. Sacrifice, or blot, the sacrifice of blood, is believed to have been super important in rituals, but in modern day, live sacrifices are tucked away in the history books for the majority of practitioners. I don't like that, the use of the term majority, because that means that there are some that instead variables are offered to bogs or wetlands as sacrifice, or they drink mead.
So this is the last little bit of this episode, so you guys are getting treated with a short episode. How long have we been recording? I thought it was a lot longer than what it was.
Not even 20 minutes.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah.
Jeez, it took me like literally
Don't you hate that?
5 hours.
Don't you hate that?
Okay.
It takes you so long to write an episode and then it's like over in a blink of an eye.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so this might sound like a weird question, but I felt as though it needed to be asked. What kind of people become Norse pagans? For a lot of newcomers, it just simply starts with an interest in the mythology. Others come from family ties to Nordic countries and they want to explore the spiritual side of it. A lot of the followers discovered that their family ties with DNA tests that link them genetically with the region, such as with my case. I also found in my research that there is a vast majority that jumped in after experiencing difficulties or traumas in mainstream religions. The mysticism, magic, and elements of shamanism draw them in. For me, with my own experiences with mainstream religion, that's what entices me is the freedom of the situation, the element of personalization, and there being no right way to practice. Now, you might be thinking, do what?
So how do you get behind that?
To me, it's like with mainstream religion, we'll say with Christianity, you live by this book. You live by, this is God's law. This is what you do. This is how you act. This is what you're supposed to say. And you've got to be here on Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Like, this is how it goes. With this, there's no one way to do it. You just kind of do it as you see fit.
Yeah.
And that to me is a very freeing experience. And like, these gods and goddesses don't really strike me as like, I need to be fearful.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Right.
But anyway, so you might be thinking, okay, I'm sold. Now, how do I practice? Now, if you've ever done any research into Norse paganism, you might notice that it's a little hard to find a whole lot of info on the how-to with the actual practice. What I have found is that I'm seeing that the book, The Way of Fire and Ice by Ryan Smith, kind of acts like that how-to guide on how to build your own personal practice in Norse pagan community. It includes some of the main bullet points, including runes and the 9 worlds of the Norse cosmology. I've also read, and I do own Neil Gaiman's book, Norse Mythology, and found that it interprets the tales of old, making them more lively. However, I feel like the best and easiest way to get going is just to commit to it and give yourself the time to get to know and connect with the gods. How you choose to do that is all in what suits you best. Also, just a note, you do not have to be Viking or of Viking descent to practice. While the mainstream media portrays this way of thinking, it is not a requirement. But I will say, if you can pull off that look, by all means, do it. Because I do love me a bearded Viking of a man or a strong, gorgeous shield maiden type woman. But I also wanted to point out that not all Vikings continued to practice this religion after the Christian takeover. There are theories also that Islam also had a slight foothold in the northern regions as it was brought through the Volga trade route. I know that we didn't dip too much into the specific mythology stories, and like I said, we'll get back into it, so don't be too disappointed. So just, kind of stay tuned for that, but because that's what I'm most excited about. But yeah, also I wanted to mention with this, what I found is like, with it being a polytheistic type thing, you can follow whatever gods you want to follow. So like, I wake up today and I'm like, I feel like today's the day that we gonna talk to Loki.
Yeah.
And then, that might last a week, a month, a couple days, whatever. And then something's happening in my life that I feel like Odin may help me more.
Yeah.
And so I can switch over to, dealing with him. It's all in how you feel.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, you want to do your research and figure out exactly what it is that you're working for before you start really working with these deities, because you don't want to piss them off.
Right. Damn.
But yeah, the idea of having a religion of sorts that just gives you the freedom to do what you want to do.
Practice it however you see fit. Yeah. As long as it's not hurting anybody.
Right.
Well,
what you want to talk about? Sorry that my shit was so short.
Well, you got a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah. Sorry my shit was so short. I worked on this for a minimum 5 hours.
That's what happens to me. I'll be working on an episode what feels like days. Sometimes it is days.
Remember when I said to you, I don't know about this whole us writing one episode a piece, like a whole episode? Because this is where you writing half an episode would have come in clutch.
I said something. I say that like I didn't finish the next episode right before you got here.
Right. Well, same. Okay, so the nonprofit is... Hold on, sorry. The Fellowship of Northern Traditions. It's honoring the gods, folk, and spirits above all else. So it's a religious nonprofit organization recognized by the IRS as a 501c3 church dedicated to, and they said church in quotes, dedicated to promoting Northern spirituality, whatever, in the modern world. They hold seasonal weekend-long gatherings across the United States and beyond. If you seek community and a deeper connection to our natural world, then they invite you to join them around the fire. So their story goes, and I'm just going to read their stuff because we have time. The Fellowship of the Northern Tradition started unofficially in March of 2020 when 9 people met together in the rolling hills of Kentucky to honor the Norse gods. That first gathering established the blueprint for several more that year, including a December Yule gathering in Kentucky with over 50 in attendance. Over the course of 2021, the leaders of the community were put to a test, holding dozens of gatherings. What started as one man's dream now included over 20 individuals working together to put on events across the country. These individuals have become what we call fellowship leaders, many of whom now serve on the board of directors for the nonprofit organization known as the Fellowship of Northern Traditions, officially in 2022. Their goals are they seek to hold safe and inclusive religious gatherings where those interested in Northern pagan traditions can worship together with a focus on their spiritual journeys, free from modern drama and politics. Their primary goal of fundraising is to generate the funds required to purchase land, which can be a permanent gathering space for future events. With time, they wish to construct a hall on that property as well. I can imagine like a great hall, like in the middle of the woods in the hills of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Having this just great hall. I bet it would be amazing.
Probably.
They hope to create programs within the community which will help produce a positive pagan image for pagans everywhere. These programs may include, but are not limited to, environmental cleanup, native outreach, and local community service. And then it kind of talks into who are the gods, the folk, and the spirits. They primarily perform rituals and venerate with the gods from the Iron Bronze Age Scandinavia, gods such as, but not limited to, Odin, Thor, Freyr, Freya, Frigg, and then I'm going to skip some because I can't pronounce them. Loki, Balder, Njord, Heimdall, Tyr, and Hel. And then they say, when we speak of the folk, we are really talking about two sets of people, the ones who came before us and those who are here now. The ancestors were an incredibly important part of the Iron Bronze Age veneration? Veneration?
Sure.
Sure. And we believe that all of our collective ancestors should be honored and remembered. The folk who are here now are quite simply the friends and family that have decided to come together around a fire at these gatherings and beyond. There are many names for the spirits of this world: fae, sprites, elves, trolls, and even ghosts. Nearly every world mythology speaks of spirits that live in this world alongside us, and our aim is to honor these often forgotten about spirits as often as we can. Oh, they had a California Yule gathering in 2022. It was a ritual to Odin. Oh, man. Like, I'm talking face paint and the whole nines. There's some Viking-looking fellers here. But it goes through, they've got videos and pictures and whatnot of their gatherings. If this is something that truly interests you, you can kind of keep up with them and see where they're going to be, what they're doing, and maybe check it out. I'm definitely going to kind of look into it.
Yeah.
Just to see.
We all like LARPers.
Don't be hateful. Look, they're having a whole Lunasa camping trip.
Looks like fun.
Oh, well, they are, like, currently right now having that Lunasa camping trip.
Oh, nice. Well, I guess this will be a short one this week.
Well, dang. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's still interesting.
Oh, girl. Kentucky fall gathering on around a lake in Kentucky. I bet that'd be gorgeous.
Probably.
Man, they're talking like that camping thing for Lunasa is in England.
Yeah.
Here's another retreat in Wales.
Wow.
North Carolina.
Wales.
Here's your reason to go to Wisconsin. They're having a midsummer in Wisconsin.
Look at that.
Oh, it's canceled. Just kidding.
I was going to say, we're planning to go to Wisconsin next summer.
It's literally tomorrow.
Oh.
But it was canceled.
Oh.
Anyway.
I wonder why.
It looks like it was canceled, or it might just be crossed off because it's happening tomorrow. I don't know.
Well.
There's a cat playing with a banana down here.
Which one is it? Oh, is it tomorrow?
Yep.
It's a new banana, so.
She's rubbing her scent all over it, just like she did my backpack earlier.
She was like, I know this was for Ziggy, but Ziggy doesn't want it. Ziggy quite literally looked at that banana and turned his nose up at it and walked away. Well, I'm trying to find things to interest him because I think he's bored and peeing on rugs. So.
Hateful.
Yeah. And he's like, I know I'm going to be bored. I'm going to be bored and mad.
Have you tried the laser pointer with him yet?
Not yet, no. Because we usually don't get it out because it freaks Willow out. Mm. She gets all freaked out, starts like looking for it. She'll look for it for hours. But I might get it out and try. I don't know. I'll figure something out.
You said he doesn't like catnip.
No.
What do you mean? Like, what did he do?
He literally turned his nose up at it. Like, he like recoiled.
Did he gag?
No, he didn't gag. Okay. But he literally like smelled it and then was like, ugh, brother.
He's an old man.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like, I don't want your hippie cat drugs.
Ugh, brother. Ooh, what is that? Ooh.
Why do you keep rubbing your face on my backpack? I said earlier she was making love to my backpack.
She got her mouth open because she smells something new and weird.
It's probably smells the dogs because they like to like lay on it and fight because I keep it right next to my desk.
Yeah.
And so they feel like they have to fight right below my feet.
Yeah.
And like I kid you not.
Willow.
They will move across the room to come and fight at my feet every time. And it pisses me off so bad, especially if I'm trying to work. But they'll get over here and start fighting, and the next thing I know, they're on top of my backpack. Thank God I keep my laptop up on my desk.
Amara's like, I'm going to put my scent on it. This way they can get all freaked out.
That's fine. They're going to sniff the shit out of it for the next week.
Do we need to do any casting?
Oh. Should we do some casting?
I don't know. We might.
Are we going to cast our social circles?
Do
you guys need to cast your social circles?
Do you need to follow us on all the social media platforms we don't post on?
That was a dig. That's what that was. Bad. That was a dig.
Because, we're so bad.
No, not me. Because I was the one from Jump Street that says, oh, I'll take care of the social medias. I'll do the social medias. I've posted once in the past 2 months. Like, I'm sorry. I'll get there.
It is what it is.
I'll get there. But we're going to get better, okay?
Yeah.
Every week, every month, we're like, we're going to get better, and we're going to stop procrastinating, and we're going to write these episodes before the week before we record. And we're gonna post on the socials, and we come out of our recording so hopeful. Oh my God, you got a Travis Kelce pop.
I did.
I just saw that. Sorry.
I did get rid of some.
ADHD kicked in. Oh, what did you get rid of?
The Golden Girls.
What?
I traded them in.
What is wrong with you? Why did you do that?
I needed room.
Well, I know somebody that would have gladly taken them.
That's what Danny said, but I got $126 extra at the case. So.
I would have paid you not $126 for them.
And then I immediately spent almost all of it.
Like you needed $126 more.
I got a Madame Leota for $35.
Okay, like you needed $126 on top of your $830 you already have.
I only have $580 something of it left.
Listen, if I had gotten $830 at McKay's, everybody getting something from
there's
McKay's
some new Addams Family ones that are out that I need to get, and there's 2 new Elvira's coming out that I need to get. So I needed room. Needed the space.
You could have gotten
and I got a new dolly.
Listen, I would have gotten rid of Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh no!
And Bram Stoker before I got rid of anything else.
Because Daniel had to work really hard to get those for me off at eBay. Those were for Christmas. I can't get rid of those. And the Golden Girls ones, I no longer have a sentimental attachment to.
Oh, this is true.
So,
I mean, listen.
It's time to go.
They kind of do. They have. There might not be 3 of us anymore.
I'm not saying that they won't make a comeback one day, but today's not that day.
That hurts my feelings because I went out of my way to do a whole Golden Girls themed situation for you for your birthday.
I still enjoy the Golden Girls. I still have all my magnets on the refrigerator.
Oh my God.
Just needed the space for 4 new pops.
That was almost a whole year ago.
What?
Your birthday.
Yeah.
That's crazy because it seems like it wasn't that long ago.
I know.
I stressed so much over that.
I ain't having another birthday party this year, though.
Don't throw yourself another birthday party.
I won't.
If I
do, we'd just have a cookout at the house.
It was fun.
No theme, just a cookout.
It was fun.
Have a cake.
I'll make you a red velvet cake.
No, thank you. I appreciate the thought, but no.
Okay, well, cash those circles.
Yeah.
And follow us on the Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
X.
And send us those emails at wanderersofweird@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah, Daddy. Oh, yeah.
That sounded more like, oh, show me to me, Rachel.
Show me to me. Show me to me, please.
All right. Okay, bye.
Bye.